The insidious power of DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, often turns the tables on accusers. It's a manipulative tactic, a calculated maneuver designed to disorient and control. Our story begins with Marcus, a diligent project manager who confidently confronted a colleague. He had irrefutable evidence that his colleague, Sarah, had stolen his innovative project concept. Marcus approached her in the quiet hum of the office, his voice firm but measured. He laid out the facts, presenting the timestamps and email trails that clearly implicated her actions. He expected a sheepish apology, perhaps a clumsy attempt at explanation, but not what followed. Sarah, instead of admitting fault, swiftly employed the DARVO tactic, a masterclass in deflection. Her eyes welled up, not with remorse, but with a feigned hurt that instantly disarmed Marcus. "How could you accuse me of such a thing, Marcus?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "After all we've been through, all the late nights we've shared on projects." She accused him of betrayal, of questioning her loyalty, of undermining her professional integrity. This immediate, jarring reversal of roles left Marcus utterly bewildered and increasingly apologetic. He found himself stammering, trying to backtrack, feeling a sudden surge of guilt. Had he misjudged the situation? Was he truly the aggressor, unfairly attacking a friend? The narrative highlights how this tactic, though seemingly emotional and spontaneous, is a calculated sequence. It starts with a vehement denial of the accusation, no matter how compelling the evidence. Then, it quickly escalates to an attack on the accuser's credibility, their motives, or their character. Finally, and most devastatingly, it reverses the victim and offender roles with astonishing speed. The manipulator becomes the wounded party, and the accuser is cast as the heartless villain. Marcus, standing there, felt a profound shift in his own perception of events. His initial certainty dissolved into a swirling vortex of doubt and self-recrimination. He walked away from that confrontation, not with justice, but with a heavy burden of guilt. He was convinced he had been the aggressor, the one who had caused pain and misunderstanding. This initial encounter sets the stage for understanding the profound psychological impact of DARVO. It's a weapon that leaves the manipulated individual feeling like the true manipulator. Their self-blame increases dramatically, a silent, insidious victory for the perpetrator. Marcus replayed the conversation, each detail twisting into new, self-condemning narratives. He questioned his own judgment, his memory, even his right to confront her. The stolen project, once a clear injustice, now felt like a secondary concern. His primary focus became the perceived harm he had inflicted upon Sarah. The tactic had worked flawlessly, dismantling his confidence and redirecting his anger inward. He spent the rest of the day in a haze of regret, drafting an apology email. The incident underscored the brutal effectiveness of DARVO, its ability to warp reality. It demonstrated how easily an individual can be disoriented and made to doubt their own truth. Marcus, a man of integrity, was left grappling with an undeserved sense of wrongdoing. The experience was a stark lesson in the dark arts of psychological manipulation. He learned that evidence alone is often insufficient against a skilled DARVO practitioner. The emotional onslaught bypasses logic, targeting the accuser's empathy and moral compass. He felt a deep unease, a lingering chill that permeated his professional interactions. The incident left him wary, questioning the sincerity of others' emotional displays. He realized the true power of DARVO wasn't just in avoiding accountability. It was in transferring the emotional and psychological burden entirely to the accuser. The stolen project remained unaddressed, overshadowed by his self-inflicted remorse. Sarah, meanwhile, continued her work, seemingly unburdened by any guilt or consequence. The office atmosphere, once collaborative, now felt subtly poisoned by the unresolved tension. Marcus's colleagues noticed his subdued demeanor, but he couldn't articulate the true cause. How could he explain being made to feel guilty for confronting a clear injustice? The experience was isolating, a private battle against a distorted perception of reality. He began to understand that DARVO wasn't just a tactic, it was a psychological weapon. It weaponized empathy, turning a virtuous trait against the very person who possessed it. The initial confrontation, meant to bring clarity, had only brought confusion and pain. Marcus's self-blame was a testament to the tactic's profound and lasting impact. He carried the weight of Sarah's feigned victimhood, an invisible scar on his conscience. The incident served as a chilling introduction to the world of manipulative dynamics. It highlighted how easily one's sense of justice can be twisted and subverted. Marcus's journey into understanding DARVO had just begun. Born from personal anguish, he would soon learn that recognizing the pattern was the first step towards defense. But for now, he was trapped in the web of self-doubt, a victim of a master manipulator. The stolen project remained unacknowledged, lost in the emotional fallout of DARVO. Following his bewildering encounter, Marcus found himself grappling with a profound sense of self-blame and confusion. He replayed the conversation, each detail twisting into further evidence of his perceived aggression, a classic DARVO aftermath. It was this pervasive psychological impact that prompted a deeper exploration into the mechanics of DARVO itself and, more importantly, how to effectively disarm its insidious power. The narrative now shifts to the intricate psychological underpinnings that fuel such manipulative exchanges. Research by figures like Roy Baumeister illuminates how the human brain, when faced with an accusation, possesses an almost instinctual capacity to construct a counter-narrative of victimhood. However, in the hands of a manipulative individual, this process is far from instinctual. It is a deliberate, meticulously practiced art form, honed over countless interactions. They don't merely react, they strategically deploy a pre-formulated defense designed to dismantle their accuser. Understanding this calculated nature is the first step towards developing a robust counter-tactic. Enter the 3-second anchor, a Stoic-inspired strategy designed to interrupt the DARVO cycle. This technique is deceptively simple, yet profoundly effective in its application. When confronted with a DARVO response, the immediate impulse is often to defend, to argue, to justify. But the 3-second anchor teaches us to resist this urge, to create a crucial pause. The first step involves a conscious, deliberate pause, a mental and physical halt. During this brief moment, one must take a deep, centering breath, allowing the initial emotional surge to subside. Crucially, within these 3 seconds, the individual must internally name the DARVO tactic. Recognizing it as deny, attack, reverse victim and offender strips it of its emotional power, transforming it from a personal assault into a predictable mechanical maneuver. This internal recognition creates a vital distance, preventing one from being immediately drawn into the manipulator's drama. Once anchored, the prescribed verbal response is a calm, single sentence, delivered with unwavering composure. It is a statement that acknowledges the manipulator's feigned distress without validating their false narrative. The recommended phrasing is, "I understand this feels difficult for you, and I still need us to address the original issue." This sentence is a masterstroke of psychological jujitsu. It subtly validates their feeling times of difficulty, which is often a core component of their act, but immediately pivots back to the original, unresolved problem. By doing so, it prevents the conversation from spiraling into a tangential argument about the accuser's credibility. It refuses to engage with the attack or the reversal of roles. Instead, it firmly, yet calmly, re-establishes the boundary and the focus. This strategy is not about winning an argument in the traditional sense. It is about preventing oneself from being ensnared in the manipulator's emotional web. It maintains focus on the core issue, refusing to be distracted by the theatrical performance. The most challenging aspect of DARVO, however, is not the confrontation itself, but its insidious aftermath. Even with a perfectly executed 3-second anchor, the manipulator's words can leave a residue. The lingering self-doubt, the gnawing guilt, the persistent questioning of one's own perception. These are the true weapons in DARVO's arsenal. This final phase, the psychological erosion of the victim's confidence, is where the tactic truly triumphs. It is the weapon's ultimate deployment, designed to ensure compliance and silence in future interactions. Recognizing this lingering effect is crucial for complete recovery and resilience against future manipulation. The 3-second anchor provides the initial defense, a shield against the immediate assault. However, the battle extends beyond the immediate interaction into the quiet moments of reflection. It is in these moments, when alone, that the seeds of doubt are most effectively sown by the manipulator. The mind begins to replay the encounter, scrutinizing every word, every gesture. Was I too harsh? Did I misinterpret their intentions? Perhaps I truly am the problem. These internal questions, fueled by the DARVO attack, are designed to undermine self-trust. They are the final, most potent phase of the weapon deploying, ensuring long-term psychological impact. This self-blame, as research shows, can increase by a staggering 340%. It leaves the target convinced they were the aggressor, not the victim of manipulation. To truly neutralize DARVO, one must also prepare for this post-confrontation psychological warfare. It requires a conscious effort to challenge these intrusive, self-deprecating thoughts. Recalling the facts, the evidence, and the manipulator's predictable pattern is vital. Reinforcing one's own perception, despite the emotional discomfort, is a critical act of self-preservation. The goal is to prevent the manipulation from following you home, from colonizing your internal landscape. Building resilience against this final phase means understanding its purpose and actively resisting it. It means trusting your initial judgment and the evidence that led you to confront the issue. This ongoing internal work is as important as the initial 3-second anchor in the conversation. For without it, the manipulator achieves their ultimate goal: your silence, your guilt, and their continued impunity. The journey to full recovery from DARVO involves both external and internal strategies. It is a continuous process of awareness, assertion, and unwavering self-trust.